The White House issued an executive order establishing the Make America Healthy Again Commission. In it, they specifically mentioned concerns that children are being over-medicated for ADHD. It's one paragraph in a longer order, but it also comes at a time when the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Agency, is considering new rules that would roll back exemptions that made it easier to get ADHD medications through telehealth. After I read this, I figured there was no one better to talk to than Dr. Andy Kahn, who works a lot with families with kids with ADHD. Andy, I have a question about the word over-medicated, because I feel like it doesn't always mean what it sounds like it means, which is that kids are getting too much of a medication. Are we talking about people who are taking too much medication, or people who are taking the wrong medication, or who are taking medication when they don't actually need it?
Over-medicated, as I historically referred to it, is a kid having too much medication. I think what we're seeing in a lot of these documents is talking about the idea that too many kids are getting medication, and that there's some sort of movement to either diagnose less kids or to provide less treatment for ADHD, which comes across as a bit scary. And a lot of my families have talked to me about this. They're worried about being able to treat their children who have been appropriately diagnosed with ADHD.
It's a scary time in a lot of ways for that sort of thing. I wonder, because, you and I both have ADHD, we've always heard about ADHD medication, which itself carries a stigma almost separate from the disorder, but that sort of reflects onto the disorder. As a provider who helps people find treatment for ADHD, what do you think would combat that stigma? Is it better evaluations? Is it a different type of conversation about the disorder itself? Is it helping people understand a little bit more about what ADHD medication does? What would help?
The first step is always addressing what we have in terms of shortages, and not just medication, but access to qualified and good quality assessments. If there's a gold standard for how we do this, then as people are diagnosed, they don't have to continuously defend themselves. I think the other factor that really needs to be evaluated is, are we providing enough support to get clinicians available to kids where they live and where they reside, to get access to quality clinicians who know how to support managing the emotional impacts and helping them develop skills that are essential for them to thrive with their difference with ADHD. In the absence of those supports, what we see is an overemphasis on people in the media and in other outlets on medication as being what we're doing to treat ADHD. Medication is part of the process of treating ADHD. So if you can't get access to other supports, it's going to get magnified in terms of how people think about it. And I think for me, that's a big concern. I'd love to see more investment in getting clinicians accessible to kids and families wherever they are in our country.